Hello and welcome to Bedson and Coffey, Unfiltered.
Where we will be discussing fitness, lifestyle, healthy eating habits, relationships, gas station performance pills, answering romantic queries. You have anything else, Tyler? Is there anything? Do you need help with anything right now? Because I feel like I'm in a position where I can help you with it.
I mean, and everything else that we come across as we go. But
That's
you know
it.
what it's going to be, right?
It's going to be unfiltered.
There's any good donut places around anymore? What they got up in
You ever had
Somerset?
duck donuts?
Yeah, I have. Is those the ones that just like put random ass shit on top?
Well, like it's kind of like Subway. Like you pick the toppings
oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
you got like orange cream donuts.
It's pretty good. I had one
had
after the
before.
Knox Classic.
See, like I just like
Me
a
and Brian did.
traditional donut. Like, give me a regular glazed donut, and I think that's where it's at. You know, I don't need.
I like just a normal Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
You ever had the sour cream donuts though?
No, I have.
God, they're pretty good. Yeah, they're real good.
Yeah, you know what? I've never really cared for maple bacon donuts.
Yeah, I don't
It's
like
just
that.
too much, man. It's
It
just
is too much.
It's just like
There's some stuff that's like, okay, that's okay, like for a taste, but it's like I
Yeah.
don't need a whole one because it's like you feel like shit afterward.
Mm.
Like those big bear claws with like the maple bacon stuff on it and everything, and the big donuts.
yeah,
That's
still
too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold it like this. Hot tub.
I feel so bad for that girl. She's like, isn't she in hiding or something like that?
I don't feel bad for her at all, man. She's famous now. All she got to do is start an OnlyFans.
I've seen all
She's
these
gonna go.
like rumors and shit
Are
though.
we
that,
rolling?
like,
We are
Oh,
rolling.
yeah. Yeah,
we are live.
the what? How do you say it again?
Hot tub.
Yeah, that girl.
That's it. If she don't hot to her, then I won't even talk to her. Come on.
Oh, man.
Hey.
Oh man. Yeah, but there's like rumors going around that I'm pretty sure she's like a preacher's daughter or something. I think
Man,
there was a rumor she was from Somerset. Did you see that?
That ain't a rumor, brother. That's a satire page.
Yeah, I know, but like
Everybody thought it was, though. Like,
that's
everybody
so
thought it was
random
for real.
to put like somebody put Somerset, Kentucky. I'm like, what the hell?
Because it was on the Somerset Insider page.
Ah, that's where I seen it at.
yeah.
Then. Okay.
Yeah, everybody's sharing it from there.
Can you
That's
imagine
an
being that
awesome
girl
page.
though? You're just like out having fun with your friends, and they just interview you, and you say some like belligerent shit, and you're like, "Oh snap!" And then it blows up. Like you have the chance to become a meme pretty much anywhere you go. Like anywhere with cameras, you can blow up overnight.
We say some pretty ridiculous shit on here that, I mean, you know. It was one of the questions I got the other day. They asked if Tyler has ever hawked to and spit on that thing.
And the answer would be no.
No, it goes both ways. That doesn't necessarily mean you had to be spitting on a wiener.
Ah, sure.
I mean,
That'd
like,
be wild, you know. That's something I could see like Eli doing though. Like in a past life, like way long ago.
on a female,
No, on yourself.
on myself, just hawk to and spit on myself. Hey, I'm telling you, I mean, like, who knows what you like better than you? You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
true.
I'm a gold star heterosexual, but I've done gay stuff to myself. Like, I touch my wiener all the time.
Wasn't there a thing like Marilyn Manson? Like there was a rumor that he like removed the rib.
And you have too.
Removed the
too.
rib? No.
Removed a rib.
Yeah, wasn't there a rumor that he did that so
There
he could
was.
like give
There
himself
was. And
fellatio?
that was pre-internet. You tell me, how in the hell did every single sixth grader on the North American continent know about that before the internet?
That's crazy because
Yeah.
stuff like
Everybody
that spread.
said it.
Like I think I was in like fourth grade, and whenever I heard about that, and I was like, I didn't even really know who Marilyn Manson was. So that's all I knew about him, though. Like I didn't know any like his songs. All I knew was that he removed a rib.
I wonder if that could be done now. Like if we could start like a random rumor, and it be.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
you could. It's like that game of telephone, but it's like worse.
I've been telling everybody that you have one testicle that's bigger than the other two.
Really? So I have 3.
If the math is right.
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me of those weird the muscle potential trunks.
Oh yeah,
That's wild.
yeah.
People have to see that. Actually, you don't want to look at it. It's kind of weird.
I think the one guy has a hernia.
It's got to be something, man. Because
Like
it's like,
this.
but they post it and they're so proud. Like
So I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no way you've used that much anabolics and you've got that much testicles left.
that's crazy.
There's
yeah.
not.
It's just like they wearing trunks and it's just like a big ball of like it looks like a grapefruit and it's just like
like a head of cabbage.
So imagine one of those dudes actually getting on stage. Have they done that? Because I've not actually seen like that would blow up on the internet. Like if somebody actually got up on stage and it looked like that, they'd be like,
I mean, like the trunks are a bit tighter anyway to try to make things. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like a little more streamlined, I suppose. But yeah, that's a hernia.
that
man.
guy tried to contact me one time and like he was like, hey man, send people to get my trunks.
The guy that makes the trunks.
Yeah. And I just couldn't take it seriously because I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are they?
Is that the company you told me to check on? Or we talking about trunks or something?
Yeah, it's a company, and the guy, I don't know if he just makes them like that, because there's no way like that's unless all those guys have like a tumor, like there's like a big population of tumor people that just like order trunks from there. But like that, man, I almost want to share a story of that just so like people can see what we mean, because it's just so weird.
Can you get like, I wonder if you could get like how females get breast implants, if you could just get like testicle implants.
Why would you want that?
I wouldn't. I'm just saying, like, this is a discussion. We're talking about anything.
Yeah.
Like,
can you like, is there like, can you imagine being a plastic surgeon and somebody comes and asks for that, and you just put 2 tennis balls in there and you're just like, all right, there you go.
You got to like pick the colors. You got to, like, even your sack, everything. You got to pick colors. You got it embroidered like a Crown Royal bag.
Jesus. Huh?
Yeah,
people pay for anything. I realize
it's kind of
that.
like that build a character on Madden.
Yeah.
Like you get to pick all the attributes.
I remember I used to make people like 6'11", like 280 pounds, and I make them like a quarterback. They're so messed up though, because it's just like, then make their throwing power like 99, everything 99. It's just like a giant playing against little people. That was fun. Those are good days.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Just back in the day, making a character on Madden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like that makes me, would you rather be a little person or like a 5'2" person?
What do you consider a little person then?
Like someone who could like maybe considered a disability.
Okay, so like under
like an actual
4'8", I think that is.
Are you allowed to say the M word?
I don't know if they like that.
Well, I'm not saying if they like it. I'm not meaning like it's a derogatory term,
it's
right?
a little
It's not.
person.
It is a little. That's what I just said. And then you asked me what a little person was.
Well, I thought like in the
Kyle ain't even no help right now. Like
I'm trying to trap you today, man. You're trying to get canceled.
Yeah, you about to get trapped.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are we talking about today? We got some good topics.
We're talking about hot to, and we're talking about weight loss secrets today.
Yeah.
I'm talking about weight loss secrets.
Stuff we've seen over the years. There's been quite a few of them. I mean, I've worked in a supplement store since I was about 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of stuff, and I think it's wild what people will buy or try before they even attempt to do anything else. Like, it's like, if there was a pill that you could buy and it automatically made you lean and in shape, how much you think people would spend on that?
Any amount of money. Like, you have people who say, well, I can't afford to eat right. Like, eating better costs too much. But if you told the same person, I've got this pill and it's $500 a day, they would do whatever. They would steal. They would steal to get it.
If there was a pill,
if
there was a pill that worked like that, people would pay car prices for it. They would be taking out loans. They would literally be financing for this pill because people would do it.
Of course. But there's, first of all, anything that you take that's going to alter the body dramatically in any manner is not without side effects. When I say the term ignorant, that just means unlearned. I'm not calling you stupid, but you have people that are ignorant to bodybuilding thinking they're one steroid cycle away from a pro card.
Yep.
And it's the same concept here. You have people who are just ignorant of the way things work with their body and unconsciously incompetent. Like any kind of information they have with diet and exercise or supplementation has been subjective. They've gotten it from an ad. So they see these ads and they're like, okay, well, this is what you need to do. And whatever else, like P90X, talking about muscle confusion and stuff. So then everybody wants to take a fucking buffet style approach to training and they come and do something different every single day. But with that, they think that, it's always this one little secret because they've tried everything and they've eaten perfectly because one day they had a salad and they didn't lose 20 pounds. So now they think, well, darn it, that's not for me. I've got to find something else.
Yeah.
And I hear people all the time saying, well, everybody's different. Well, we're all fucking human.
Yeah.
Like, we're not that different. The issues come whenever you have 30-some% body fat and your body doesn't respond the same way as this person who has 10% body fat. You have genetic issues, you have whatever. But, to put it simply, the only thing that's going to make you gain weight is eating too much.
Yep.
That's it. I don't care what health issues you have or anything. All of a sudden, that that may be different as to how much too much is. There's certain things that can reduce your caloric output.
Yep.
But overeating beyond your energy output, your caloric output, is what's going to make you gain weight.
I think a lot of people, it's like they think I'm eating healthy, and it's like, okay, you're eating healthy, but you're eating too much.
You can eat too much of anything.
Yeah, and it's that's the case. You can always be in a caloric surplus in eating healthy foods. And I get it all the time. People message me and be like, I've tried everything. I can't lose weight. And I'm like, well, what are you eating today? And it's like, I eat peanut butter, and I eat salmon, I eat beef, and I eat chicken, I eat eggs. And I'm like, well, how much of each of those are you eating? And it's always like a huge surplus of carbs and fat.
Oh, yeah.
And not nearly enough protein.
Absolutely.
And it's just, nutrient timing's not correct. There's a lot more that goes into it than just like what food you put in your body. It's how much of it, portion control, and a lot of that. So what happens is people will try it for 2-3 days.
Yeah. And
they won't see the scale number go down immediately. And then they're just like, well, this isn't working. Mm-hmm. So then people start looking for shortcuts.
Yeah.
And those shortcuts range because we know you see advertisements. And if I was a really dark person, I would sell all sorts of weird stuff like waist trainers and herbal teas and shit like that. But it's like what they don't realize is a lot of this stuff, what it's making you do is lose your water weight.
That's just it. You look at these cleanses and detoxes, and the moment someone brings that up, like, you've lost me. Yep. Because whenever you say, well, now I'm going to do a cleanse, I'm going to do a detox, that tells me you have no idea how this works. You have kidneys, you have a liver.
Yes.
You have everything you need to take care of your system and essentially detox and cleanse, quote unquote, your system.
Yep.
All you have to do is give it adequate amounts of water and good nutrient dense foods, and your body will take care of all that.
Yep.
That's why whenever, and you've seen it time and time again, as well as I have, you put someone on a diet and you can tell how much junk they've been eating prior to it. And if they're on the diet, that first week, they will let go of so much retention.
Oh, yeah.
That first week, they're letting go of that bloat and retention from eating these foods that their body can't digest and their body can't do. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the cleanses and detoxes, as you said. If you'll look at that detox tea, I'm going to guess the first ingredient, or within the first couple of ingredients, is going to be dandelion root, which is a mild diuretic.
Yep.
You're going to have laxatives in there and so on.
Senna, usually.
Yep. And then from there, what's going to end up happening is you're going to do all that, and you're going to lose some of that water weight, and you're going to, essentially get rid of everything out of your system, going to the bathroom and so on, the laxative effect from it. And then after a couple of days, you stop that, and then all of a sudden, hey, it's back.
Yep.
That's because you didn't lose any fat. You avoided your system
weight.
of all that.
You lost some scale weight. And I think that's where it's hard to differentiate for most is like, am I losing fat or am I just wanting to lose scale weight? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the new stuff that's coming out and what people are trying these days is all about scale weight. But then they don't realize like they're losing everything.
Yes.
They're not just losing body fat. I've seen some newer things out right now, which we'll talk about, where it's like people are losing all their muscle. They're losing their 100%. Fat. They're losing all their water. They're literally starving their body. Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen to those people in 20 years whenever they don't have any muscle?
Yes.
They lose all their muscle, but they lose some fat. So their scale weight goes down. That's cool.
Yeah.
But then in 20 years, when you don't have any muscle accumulated and you're trying to do daily functions like walk.
Yes.
Or run.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to support that with your body because you don't have that muscle mass anymore.
Yes. And I've said this until I'm blue in the face, but the basis for fat loss is strength training.
Yep.
The basis for fat loss is strength training. Now, I said fat loss, not weight loss. There's a big difference. If we want to lose weight, just don't eat.
Yep.
Just don't eat and you'll lose weight. But if we want to lose body fat, then that means that we want to maintain muscle mass. Mm-hmm. To maintain muscle mass, we have to do two things. We have to feed the muscle and we have to stimulate the muscle. Okay? So if we're eating adequate amounts of protein and we're providing a stimulus with intense strength training, that's how we give signals to our body to keep that muscle until we need it.
Yep.
If we neglect to do either of those, our body will sacrifice muscle. It'll get rid of tissue. Now, muscle burns calories. So as we are under eating and we're not strength training, our body will see that we're beginning to lose weight. We're losing fat, we're losing weight. Now, our body will begin to sacrifice some tissue to try and live off the calories we're giving it and adjust that caloric output. Okay. So we have to try and essentially cheat that process by strength training and eating adequate amounts of protein. And whenever we neglect to do so, we will sacrifice muscle mass.
Yep.
That's just it. It's strength training is the basis for fat loss. Not to mention too, strength training increases bone density. It's kind of the fountain of youth whenever we're looking at, as we age, what is going to be the most beneficial for us. Strength training is always going to be helpful. Now, when I say strength training, some people are going to think like super heavy sets of 2 and 3. No. Anything you're doing where you're picking up weights, whether it be bodybuilding, powerlifting, lifting just to be healthy, whatever, all that falls under the veil of strength training. Anything that's going to help you be, maintain muscle, become physically stronger, all that falls under the veil of strength training. Whatever that is that you do, whatever works good for your lifestyle, whatever you enjoy. But that's where it all begins with. Cardio is great. We need cardio too. But if we're wanting to lose fat, we have to be strength training.
Yep. And another thing I always tell people too is like, you have to fuel your body in order for it to burn fat.
Absolutely.
I see a lot that want to see quick fixes where they're like, I want to see the scale weight drop faster. So, they'll skip meals. And that leads to them eating off plan or doing something else would push them back into surplus.
Sure.
But what happens is when you skip these meals and everything, you're not feeding the body.
Yeah.
You're not able to fuel yourself. So in turn, you're not really burning anything. I see a lot more people stall out because they don't eat enough than the ones that are actually eating what they're supposed to fuel this training and everything they're supposed to be doing to build muscle mass and burn fat.
Yeah.
And it's just something that you have to play with in order to get the results you want, because it shouldn't be about, like, I've had some guys where, and they're like, I want to drop this much weight. And I'm like, okay, well, they want to drop 50 pounds, say. All right. We drop 30 and they look like a whole new person. But imagine the muscle mass they've accumulated.
Absolutely.
So they didn't need to drop 50 pounds.
Unless you're competing in a class that requires you weigh a certain weight.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, your health is first, and then where you feel happy with your appearance and how you feel and all those things come in.
Yep.
The weight, the weight within a bit is kind of, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Unless you have a class that you have to make.
Yep. I think a lot of the ones we've seen over the years too are different supplemental products that have come out that are targeted towards people to make it seem like there's a trick or something magical. Like early back, I can think of a hydroxycut.
That was one of the first ones I remember. I remember Lee Priest, who was always, and probably still is, my favorite physique of all time. But I remember him advertising it. And then later, I remember him talking to him about it after they discontinued the product. And he's like, I never took it.
No. That's like there was that one documentary I think they made. I forget what it was called. It was like Bigger, Stronger, Faster.
Yeah. Bell made it.
And they had the model in there, the fitness model. And he was talking about like, do you take this product? He's like, no, I've never taken it. And it's like, what do you take actually? And he's like, oh, T3 and like thyroid hormones, all sorts of stuff, and that's what a lot of people aren't telling you. Like there was a recent reel I actually saw on Instagram, and it was with William Bonac. And we all know William Bonac is, he's been a top Olympian for years.
Very impressive
He's
athlete.
placed top 5 multiple times. He's very, very good. But the guy interviewing him is like, are you natural? And William immediately is like, yes, I'm natural. He's like, all I take is my supplements. And it was like his, protein powder line and all this stuff and his fat burners.
Come on, William.
And he's like, this is all I take is just these. And he's trying to promote himself. But it's crazy because, to most people, they're like, oh, obviously this guy's on something anabolic to make him this big. But others will be like, oh, well, he's just using that fat burner. So if I just take that, then I'm going to change I'm going to look like William Bonac.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of celebrities do this. Like I remember The Rock came out with this like his fat burning line, and it was like his own supplement product.
Sure. Yeah.
And you would look at it, and I remember looking at the formula because I had a client send it to me. And they're like, "What do you think about The Rock's like fat burning product?" Because it's like says it's like a testosterone booster and it like burns fat and helps you build muscle. And you look at the product, and it was literally like a tenth of the ingredients necessary for anything to do anything at all, but they're selling it for $50 each. And people are buying it because they think, oh, well, this is a shortcut. I can look like The Rock.
Yeah.
Not thinking of like the diet, the training, what The Rock might actually be doing, you know, the growth hormone, the TRT.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And first and foremost, there are some supplementation that will help. But if your diet and your work ethic aren't on point, there's no amount of supplementation you can add to make up for that.
Yep. Well, that's why I like to point out supplement the diet and training.
Exactly.
That's why they're called supplements.
Exactly.
So it's an add-on. It's an addition to what you're currently doing in your current routine.
Yes.
That is going to create those extra little bit of results because everything else is already in line. So supplements aren't going to be the first thing first. Like if you're going to put things in order, it's going to be like diet first, in my opinion, training.
Yes.
Then, you know, I would even say water intake.
Sure.
Lifestyle choices. And then, you know, then we can put supplements.
So whenever I'm building a plan for my client, now this is the same whether they're ready for a bodybuilding show or they're a lifestyle client or they're one of my grapplers or whatever the case is. And I'm looking over all the information that I've gotten from them on the form, and I'll look at their blood work. What I first do is I build their nutrition around everything that I'm seeing on there to try and make up for anything I see on there that we need to address.
Yep.
Everything I can do with diet, I will do with diet. And then where I can't, I will fill those voids with supplements. And that's how you use supplements. Just as you said, they're meant to supplement. You know, there's nothing you're going to take that's going to replace or allow you to eat whatever you want. No human being can eat anything they want all the time without gaining body fat or ruining their physique. You know, it's possible to, you know, you can lose weight. I could lose weight eating pizza and drinking beer as long as I'm eating less than I'm burning as far as caloric intake, but I will begin to look terrible. You know, you're going to sacrifice a lot of tissue. You're not going to be getting the type of nutrients that you need. So making sure that diet's on point and everything is matching your goals, your health needs, and so on, and then supplementing as needed.
Yeah. There's one that we wanted to talk about that's very popular right now. Very popular peptide, I guess you could call it, or medication that's going around. Ozempic.
Yeah, semaglutide.
Yeah,
and it's
semaglutide.
like, I think there's a few different brands of it, like Wegovy maybe is another.
Yeah, Wegovy. They've come out with
Ozempic. There's different ones, but essentially it is all semaglutide.
Yeah, and it's very popular. I get asked a lot of questions about it all the time, asking my views on it. It's one of those things where I fear that the repercussions of using it long term, like what's it going to do? Because people aren't really trying the diet or change their lifestyle. They're just skipping straight to that. And doctors are making a killing off of it.
Absolutely.
Because, in my opinion, people just are kind of lazy.
Well, they are.
Yeah. And it's meant to be for like diabetics and things like that. So I can see that. But I also have like some diabetic clients that use it and they just feel like shit.
Well, yeah.
Oh, man. And then they get off of it and they change their lifestyle choices. And then they're like, oh, man, I feel so much better. I was able to get off all my diabetes medications. And I'm like, that's the key.
It is.
But nobody wants to do that whenever you have these so-called shortcuts. So everybody I've ever seen do it, they always complain about being tired all the time. They don't really eat any food, so there's really no energy to be given. They're feeling sick or nauseous. And I ask myself, like, you know, they have even like Ozempic face is a term that people use because people are losing so much weight that they almost look like they're sick.
Yeah. So no pill, no shot, no nothing is going to change your eating habits. As far as what you're choosing to eat, like that's all conscious decisions.
Yeah.
So if you eat poorly and you make bad decisions and you're eating food that has very little nutrition in it, and then you take this shot that makes you feel hungry and feel full and you get sick if you overeat, all of a sudden now you're just eating less of those non-nutritious foods. So you're really getting even less nutrition than you were before.
Yeah.
And protein makes you feel full. So if they're struggling to eat very much, chances are they're probably not going to eat a lot of protein.
Nope.
And chances are if they have a great deal of body fat and they want that drug anyway, chances are they probably hadn't been eating a lot of protein anyway. And so whenever they begin to take this, they're eating even less, they're getting less nutrition, and then their body is just not able to perform the same way. They're not going to have energy. They're going to begin to lose muscle tissue. And I think a lot of those people don't understand how important it is to make sure that you're feeding the muscle and training, strength training during this process.
And it's really hard because we get a lot of clients that are already on it and they come to us.
Yes, I had to.
And it's a pain in the ass to work with them, to be honest with you, because it's like to feed them even like a little bit amount of food that the body would normally need to work. It's like a challenge for them. Yeah. And then you try to add the strength training in there and they're like, I'm always weak. I'm always nauseous. I don't feel good. And I'm like, well, this is counterproductive to living a healthy lifestyle. Like if you're miserable all the time and you're not able to eat food, then we can't really do much in terms of your fitness goals. Like it's counterproductive.
Yeah, you have to have the energy to actually have, enough intensity in the workout to reach those goals.
And we've had a lot of people come to us that they're already on it, and we often encourage them to not use it and change their lifestyle habits. And all of a sudden they realize like that's the key. Yeah.
Did you see digestive issues?
Yeah. Digestive issues. They're all, it's like constant diarrhea, stuff like that. And it's just like,
that's one part of it.
Yeah.
So that's one part of it. But so it is a diabetic drug. Okay. So with that being said, the pancreas makes insulin. That's what we first think of when we talk about the pancreas. We think about insulin. Now, the pancreas also creates digestive enzymes. Okay. And the pancreas is a big aid in digestion. Now, like if you've ever seen somebody or you yourself have ever had, pancreatitis or you know of it, then you'll begin to see those issues with digestion whenever somebody has that yellow stool, pancreatic attacks and so on. Now, whenever somebody gets on that and it messes with those digestive enzymes that the pancreas is making, now all of a sudden, they can have those bouts of diarrhea, but also they'll get constipated, digestion's wrecked. And so I've worked with 3 people in the actual medical field, 3 medical professionals that were using it to the point that they actually had to have that removed.
Ugh.
Like actually removed.
Yeah.
Because they were completely just completely backed up. So that's something too, is you have to think of what it's doing to your organs and your body's not functioning correctly because you didn't need this drug. You're throwing this in. There's some people that are diabetic and get it prescribed based on that, but some people are just simply taking it because they can't say no to certain foods.
Yep.
And it really can upset your organs. It can upset your digestion. There's the cons far outweigh the pros whenever you're looking at this.
And if you're using it for like dieting purposes and weight loss purposes, I'm just kind of like, there's so many better ways. And it's you just have to give it a chance because a lot of people are like, I just can't control what I eat. And I'm like, well, you could if you put proper nutrients in your body. Yes. Because often the reason like you're having those cravings or going and just eating and binge eating is because you're not feeding yourself. And that's the issue. So I'll have a lot of people like, well, I can't control what I eat. It's just nonstop. Like I'm craving this and that, and I have to eat it. And I'm like, well, if you tried to give yourself like actual like protein diet and incorporate fruits and veggies and what your body's actually wanting, then you probably would not have those cravings and issues.
Sure.
And many people have topped that firsthand where they're like, wow, I feel so much better. I didn't realize I just wasn't feeding my body the right things. I'm like, if you only eat candy and cakes, your body's going to be sitting there craving candy and cakes because it's not getting anything proper. Like you're not giving yourself actual micronutrients. You're just giving yourself sugar.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And as far as from the diabetic side of it and the blood sugar side of it, we begin to become resistant to insulin with excess body fat. Whenever you see somebody that becomes hyperglycemic and later type 2 diabetic from weight gain, that's what's happening is they're building so much body fat that the body can't control blood sugar and it continues to build a resistance to insulin. So then you eat and blood sugar spikes, and instead of getting back to baseline, well, now that insulin's not having the same kind of effect on the body. So it doesn't get back to baseline. It still stays a little high. Then you eat again and it climbs a little more, and you eat again and it climbs a little more. So you're not ever getting that to come back down. So, and that's making it easier to gain fat. insulin works kind of like a key too, and we can manipulate that in bodybuilding if you're lean enough, but to help build muscle. But if not, and you're just sitting around eating candy, watching TV, it makes it a little easier to store fat whenever your blood sugar is constantly remaining higher. Now, if you were to begin to watch those foods that you're taking in, eat adequate amounts of protein, be mindful of your carbs, have them around your workout, and be in a caloric deficit, and you start to lose body fat, well, now you'll start to regain that insulin sensitivity. And you can like lower A1C, lower fasted blood glucose, and you can get out of that pre-diabetic range. And you don't need the semaglutide. You don't need those things. I've seen people come off metformin. I've seen all these things over the years simply from losing weight. Your body's not meant to carry 30% body fat as a man. You're just not.
No. And the more muscle you have, the better your body's going to respond.
100%.
Yeah, and that's
the more you can eat. The more muscle you have, the more you can eat too.
The more muscle you have, the more you can eat. The better you're going to respond to everything. And that's why I have a lot of guys start with me, and they'll be like, I want to grow and I want to get bigger.
Yep.
And I'm like,
you're too big right now.
You're too big right now. If we try to push size right now, it's just going to, you're going to accumulate more fat.
Exactly.
So you'll see a lot of the transformations I post are me getting somebody into a lean state first so that the body can respond better. We can eat more food. And it's crazy what the body can get up to. Like I've gotten some guys up to 800, 900 grams of carbs, and they're still lean.
Because now they're responsive. Because their body can handle that.
And it's super cool whenever you're able to eat a ton of food and, go out to eat, and you can kind of pick something and your body still responds to it.
Yep.
But it's not, I don't think it's fun whenever you have some people and they're getting so low in food that as soon as you stop some of these supplements and you go back to what you were doing in the first place, you put on all the fat back on.
Exactly.
But then you don't have nearly as much muscle.
Exactly.
So,
and that's exactly right. And that's something that I touched on. I'd made a post a while back about semaglutide. So this, you see these yo-yo dieters, okay? Years ago, do you remember Adipex?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. This is the same thing that would happen with that. And I'd seen it a bunch then. And then now you're seeing it with those Ozempic. So, all right, as we discussed, nothing's going to change your eating habits as far as what you're eating and how you're eating it, except for you making those conscious decisions. Now, you have people taking semaglutide. They're not eating enough. They're not strength training. Their body's going to sacrifice muscle tissue. Now, your muscle tissue is going to burn calories. So now they've lost weight. All right, but a lot of that was muscle tissue. They're not eating very much because this drug is making them not be able to. Now they get to that weight and they're saying, well, now I want to build muscle. Now I want to get in shape, because they don't know no different. So now they stop taking the drug. They go back to eating like they were. They gain weight more rapidly because now their caloric output is even less because they don't have the same amount of muscle as they did before. They may not have much muscle then, but they certainly have less now. So now they're in an even bigger surplus, eating the same amount of food. They gain the weight back quickly. Better go back on Ozempic. They do it again, cycle repeats. So you avoid that by just doing the hard stuff immediately. Get things lined out.
Do you remember the movie WALL-E?
I don't know.
It was like a Pixar movie about a robot.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, but there's a part in there and like all the humans are basically like living in these like floating chairs because they're so obese and they have like no muscle, so they can't walk. But it reminds me of like what's going to happen with Ozempic. People are just going to get to the point where they have no muscle, so they can't do like bodily functions, but they're going to just get so fat that they can't actually do anything. And we're going to have people like wheelchair bound because they can't walk or move because there's not enough muscle to do that. And I'm really curious of what's going to happen in the next, 10, 20 years of repercussions from this. Like, it's going to be like a serious health issues for a lot of people where they were like, they took this shortcut. Because I'm going to tell you, anything that, like we talked about earlier on this episode, anything that causes some sort of effect that's beneficial, or what you would call beneficial,
anything to manipulate your system,
your body, is
is
going to cause some serious side effects. They may not be immediate, but they'll go down the road and you're going to be like, oh shit, I didn't realize this was happening the entire time. And that's why I steer people away from anything that's like considered a quick fix. I think anything you do with fitness should be turned into a lifestyle. That's the secret.
It has to be.
It has to be. You have to be able to do this long term. And I'm not telling some people you need to be 100%. Like it's, that's not sustainable for a lot of people. And not everybody's a bodybuilder. Not everybody wants to be a pro athlete or something like that. It's follow some sort of lifestyle, make some changes. Like that could be the initial, like, I'm going to stop drinking full sugar soda and full sugar tea. And I'm going to switch to unsweet tea with stevia or Splenda. And I'm going to switch to Diet Coke.
There you go.
There's a lifestyle change.
The things you do daily.
Yeah.
The little things you do daily are what's going to add up.
Yep. I'm going to drink more water. Okay. And then, next thing's next. I'm going to try to get 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight today. I'm going to start and try to get more protein.
Yeah.
What else can we do? I'm going to try to start eating 4 servings of fruit and 2 servings of vegetables a day.
Yeah. Adequate amounts of water.
Yeah. The simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to park further away from my workplace so I get more steps. I'm going to take the stairs instead of taking the elevator.
Yeah.
These are simple
I'm going to
things.
get on top instead of making her.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Like put in more work. Burn
Yes.
calories.
These are simple decisions you
Right.
can make where it's like you can go and lose 4 or 5 pounds a week just because you decided to make these simple lifestyle changes.
Yes. So essentially that's it. It's calories in and calories out. And, to put yourself in a deficit, we can either take in more calories or we can put out more calories or the combination of both. And I think so many people, and I know you've heard this, but everybody's like, well, I need balance.
Yeah.
I need balance. I want to do this and I want to do this. And I'm just having to do this all the time and I just can't do this all the time. Well, here's the issue is you've not had balance for the last 8 years. You've been out of balance in the wrong direction. That's why you're 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight. So now we have to be out of balance in the other direction to get you where you need to be.
Yep.
Then once we get there, now we can begin to adjust.
Now we can adjust.
And we can do things and we can kind of let you enjoy things a little bit more. But that's just it. You can't be balanced now because you've been out of balance in the wrong damn direction for over a decade.
Yep.
And that's why now that your health is an issue.
Yeah. It's whenever you make bad decisions for 10 years, it's going to take more than 6 months to get back to a good spot.
Exactly.
And we've discussed that many times. And it's one of those things where you have to make it something you can do long term. And usually it takes, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks to get into a routine where something feels automatic. And you have to give that time. Like what I see typically is people will give something 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And then they'll go right back to what they're doing and then they just give up. But what needs to happen in that situation is like, it's okay to mess up. It's okay to live life. But it's how you react past that is what's going to accumulate more results. So like say you start a diet and you're just getting started with it. And Monday through Thursday, you're like, man, I nailed it. Friday, you get behind at work. Okay. And it's just tough and you miss some meals and you're like, man, I'm super hungry. And you go out to eat and you just like, you cave and you get McDonald's. Okay. Well, what a lot of people do there is they just quit completely. They're like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
This is too hard.
Yeah.
Instead, it's just like, move on, get right back on plan and try to do it better the next
It's like
day.
selling your car for a flat tire.
Yeah, it's crazy.
like just fix it and go on.
Yeah.
And a lot of times to that point too, a lot of people will say, they'll think, well, I've stuck to it for 3-4 days. Now I deserve this. No, you don't. No, you don't. And they'll do a cheat day.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine, I've coached him now for quite some time, Quentin, he was talking the other day and he said someone at work asked him, like, you get a cheat day, right? And he's like, cheat day. And it made me so happy to hear his response, but he's like, dude, I couldn't handle a cheat day. I don't need a day.
No.
He's like, no one needs a full day. He's like, anything I done over the week, I in a couple meals, I can knock that out and be done with it and gain weight. Like,
yeah. It's so
and-
easy to get in a caloric surplus, especially if you
It
eat
is,
out
man.
all the time, the amount of oil and stuff they use in a lot of meals. That's what I try to teach people too, is I'm like, you can go eat out, but try to choose something that's close to what you normally eat.
Yeah.
Like if your meal is steak and potatoes, go out and order yourself a steak and potatoes. Like you can get a baked potato at a restaurant. You can get a sirloin or filet mignon or anything lean steak and still be able to eat out.
Oh, yeah.
Where the issue starts is people go back to old habits.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to have the loaded potato skin appetizer, a burger and fry, and then have a hot fudge sundae.
Yeah.
It's just, you don't need all that. But that's the idea. And I think a lot of us grew up with that, is like food. Food is the cure for a lot of issues.
It's a big part of American
Comfort.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comfort.
Yeah.
And you just got to kind of change some of those things up. And weight loss secrets, I mean, if we really discuss it, like, the secret is
Continuity.
Yeah.
The secret is consistency. Do the routine things routinely and do them for a long period of time. Learn to eat foods that you digest well, that you tolerate well, and that are conducive of your goals and your health.
Yep.
Strength train, do some cardio. The amount of that is based on your needs.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to train like a bodybuilder. You don't have to do cardio like a marathon runner. But, you know, doing these things for your health. You know, if you strength train 3 times a week, we're okay.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
plenty.
plenty.
That's plenty.
Yeah.
That's plenty. You get some cardio in, hey man, we're great. You know, and then make your diet match. And then you want to have dinner with the family or something, adjust for it. Set that up so you know, like, if you want to go here and eat, yeah, and then don't eat like an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, don't eat everything on the menu. You know, it's not that hard, man. Like, you don't have to have a pile of drugs just to try and bypass this and shortcut it so that you can eat anything you want or whatever else. Like, because,
Yeah.
and that's what I was explaining to somebody the other day, is like, you're going to have to address this at some point. So you can either take time now to address your health or be forced to take time later to address your sickness. You don't get to adjust. You don't get to avoid taking time for it, but you get to decide whether you do it up front or on the back end. And it's way worse on the back end. I've seen it.
Yeah. It's decisions you make daily are what add up over time.
Yeah.
And I try to say, make whenever each decision you make during the day, as far as what you eat or what you do, try to make it accumulate in a positive direction.
Yeah.
So whenever I go out to eat, or when I choose what I'm going to do during the day, I'm like, will this benefit me or will this set me back?
Yeah.
And I try to do a lot more positive direction choices.
Sure.
And of course, you're going to have some days where it's like, okay, well, it's a celebration. You know what? Have a piece of cake, whatever.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, if you make the right decision or make a better choice, it's going to accumulate, and you're going to see vast changes over time. And it's just continuity.
And a big part of that progress isn't just seen in the mirror too, but a lot of that is starting to change how you think.
Yep.
And when you start to see the fruits of your labor and you start to see the results that you're getting from making these good decisions, you get that feedback and you get that gratification from you. Like, okay, this actually is working.
Yeah.
And I'm looking better. I'm feeling better. These clothes that used to be super tight, now they fit good. I'm getting compliments. All this stuff is nice and I'm feeling better. I have energy. I feel stronger. And then it becomes easier to say, no, I don't think I want any of that. Thank you. Or, you know what, I'm going to choose this instead. You know, I don't have to have this junk food candy bar or whatever. I can grab this and be good. And, you know, the progress, the mental side of that is what's going to carry through and change the physical, you know, over time and allow you to continue to do so.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's other interesting weight loss, like little things that I've seen over time.
Yeah, the first things that come to mind, especially now, Ozempic is like
that's the
big
popular
thing,
one right
and
now.
it's like everybody in Hollywood's on it. But yeah, for the longest time, you had the detoxes and the cleanses and the wraps and all that. I remember Hydroxycut and Adipex.
Yeah. ECA stack was the other one that
ECA, ephedra, caffeine, and aspirin.
Yeah, which I've tried that before, actually, you know, for actual competition prep.
Yeah. Appalachian Ozempic is real big in Eastern Kentucky.
What would you consider that?
In meth. In meth. High-speed chicken feed.
If we were to compare meth and Ozempic, that'd be wild. God.
I'd probably rather do meth.
Yeah.
I haven't. I've not done either. But, I mean, if somebody's like, which of these do you think would, well, you know.
Yeah. It's funny, man. I had a call one time, and a guy, like, he called me from, like, Texas, out of nowhere, and he wanted to sign up for coaching. And he didn't want to diet, though. He was like, man, I don't really want to diet. He's like, I just want to know where to get some clenbuterol. And I was like,
Sweet.
I was like, you don't want to diet, but you just want to use like something that's just going to accelerate your heart rate. And, you like, it just made little sense to me of like why you would want to use something that could further hurt your health with your lifestyle choices than try something that's actually going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because like you'll go to the gym and people will be there for a week, just like a singular week, and they'll like try to work out, and then all of a sudden they're like trying to ask everybody in the gym like, well, what do you do?
Yeah.
How do I do this?
What you take, bro?
Yeah, what do you take? That's the first question you get a lot of times. And I've been sitting at the gym before and I have my headphones in. I'll have a guy come up to me and he'll be like, what do you use? And I'm like, and it's always a surprise to them because like right now I use nothing at all. And then they're like confused.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them, I eat the same things every day. I do this every day. And it's almost like a shock to them. They're like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, it's just time.
And a lot of people, they think that cardio is the fix-all for weight loss. So I'm just going to do cardio. And, I'm going to eat just very minimal. I'm going to eat me a salad here and there, and I'm going to just do cardio. Well, there's another creature that just walks and eats greens. And that's cattle. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to be built like a cow, skinny arms and legs and big torso. Yeah. What I'm getting at is you'll see the people that try to lose weight by avoiding strength training and only doing cardio and not eating enough. And then you'll wind up, a lot of times we call it skinny fat.
Yeah.
Because you're losing tissue. And essentially that's where that Ozempic takes you too.
Yeah.
But you'll lose muscle tissue and then you just have that, you still maintain a lot more fat, but now your limbs are slimmer, you're beginning to lose body composition, your overall appearance changes for a negative.
And it's funny because the goals of a lot of these people, they want to look like a fitness model. And I'm like,
yep.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that person lifts.
Yeah, that person lifts weights and eats food.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the opposite direction.
So I think a lot of times people they'll talk about the things that don't work, but I'd like to throw in some things here too that we, first of all, considering your diet's on point and your work ethic is on point, what are some things that you feel that you've seen and you've used that do assist?
I would say as long as everything else is put in line. Like
exactly. That's first
key.
and foremost.
That's the key. Like I do use pre-cardio. I like to use yohimbine hydrochloride.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll usually use probably about 5 to 10 milligrams for myself.
Yep.
And actually makes me enjoy cardio, to be honest with you. It works really well with me. I'll often do a cup of black coffee.
Yes.
Simple as that, like a cold brew or Americano. Mm-hmm. I usually don't. I just do it completely black, no extra calories in it at all. Acetyl L-carnitine or injectable L-carnitine, I am a fan of, but it's one of those things where I wouldn't say it's like you have to.
Yeah. So carnitine, to further explain that, carnitine is what's referred to as a lipid transporter. It helps your body, shuttle fat into the muscle cell to be used as energy. Normal L-carnitine can't cross the cell membrane. Mm-hmm. Acetyl L-carnitine is a synthesized version that can. Yeah. So the efficacy of Alcar is far greater than normal carnitine when ingested.
Yeah.
And then obviously injectable carnitine is very effective as well.
I'm also a big fan of a morning digestion drink. Mm-hmm. And I do think that is very beneficial for me as far as getting my body set up to accumulate food. Like, so my morning digestion drink is 10 ounces of water, 2 ounces of aloe vera juice, 1 ounce of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and about 10 to 15 grams of glutamine.
Yeah.
And that, I start every morning off like that before I do anything. That's my first thing I do. Mm-hmm. And
I get up and have a bottle of water like that first thing.
And it's a game changer. I put a lot of clients on it. Another thing I add to that sometimes that has a lot of actual benefits on weight loss with studies is myoinositol, which is actually for inflammation. People use it for PCOS, but it gets rid of a lot of that extra water weight.
Yep.
And it actually shows there's some benefits for fat loss with it.
Yep.
So
I use it with a lot of my clients with, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, a blend of myo and D-chiro inositols. And it helps a great deal.
Yeah.
So
another one that I actually learned from John Meadows at one of his seminars back in the day was he was talking about the best way to get an obese client to lose body fat with initial diet. And he was like, what I'll often have people do is I'll have them just use L-tyrosine at about a 2-gram dosage with a cup of black coffee in the morning. I'm going to start first thing with that. So what L-tyrosine does,
stimulate hormone, thyroid.
Stimulates your thyroid hormone. So it just gets it in a better spot. And I remember learning this, and I do it for a lot of people still. And it's crazy because you can start them off that initial diet. And I've had people who have never needed to change their diet, and they'll lose 40, 50, 60 pounds.
And that's not a bad thing, people. Like if you're losing weight here and you're still eating plenty, we don't have to make adjustments. Like if everything's working great, we monitor, and that's a good thing. Eating more is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a really fun way to do it. Is if you're not hungry and you're losing weight each week, that's a great sign.
Keep rolling, man. Keep rolling.
I have some, they're like, I'm just so full, but I'm like, you lost 5 pounds this week. Like, we don't need to push you harder. Like, that's going to be, you don't want to be hungry. You don't have to be.
Right.
I'm trying to think if there's any others,
we might have to add that into another episode. I think we're winding down here.
Yeah, we've talked about a lot today, but I mean, that's a lot of good information. I mean, there are some things I would say that you can add to a diet that do work as long as you have everything set up. But
and if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to talk about that in another episode too.
Yeah, reach out to us. We're always happy. We're good. That's good. What a good day.
This has been Bedson and Coffee Unfiltered. Thank you guys for listening.
Make sure to go follow us on social media.